Today we're going to be analysing Doug Stanhope, one of his performances, which means it's going to be iconic because Doug is one of the best working comedians today. I've had the privilege of seeing him live 3 times now, and each time did not disappoint. We're going to drop right into the middle of a bit that he was doing, break it down, see what tools of comedy he's using and how he's exploiting very small ideas to get the maximum effect. Let's not waste any more time. I'm going to leave the link of this video in the description box so you can check it out without my interruptions and just enjoy it for yourself.
Whatever your cause, your charity, or your drive, your effort, audit it. Make sure, because so much of it is...
Okay, straight away, he's setting up a point of view and he's telling somebody how to do something. His opinion, this is the way you should go about doing this. Now, in this particular instance, just for some context, he's talking about people doing things for charity, collecting money for charity. And he's going to expand on that idea as he's going forward. But what I'm trying to point out here, why I interrupted the video so quickly, is he's going to say something, and it's an opinion, and that's all it is in the room. It's not yet won over. But where Doug is one of the best at, his field is saying something that's not the opinion of the group, and then give him a while later and people will start applauding his reasoning. Now, he's using comedy as the connection point between his sometimes absurd opinion, and sometimes it's just an opinion he might have that's different from the population in the room. But he says he states the topic first, and then he gives his reasons why. And in doing so, he's going to entertain you. And the entertainment is what's going to make you think about the opposition. It's what's going to make you think about his side.
Symbolism over substance, where people think they're helping by doing nothing. Audit all the time and effort and see if you're actually affecting change, rather than just, oh, we're going to have a 10K fun run for the cure. Come on down on Sunday. It's a 10K.
Now you see, he started, right? So he started. He was real deep in thought. He was getting his words out. Just like Doug Stanhope is one of the best at turning material into conversational tone, right? Because he is riffing for a large part. I don't, possibly, it's possible he has everything learnt ahead of time, right? Every single way he's going to move. But I don't think so. He's one of those comedians. It's so beautiful to watch because the way he lives, there's a large part, he drinks a lot, he's a thinker, and he's always thinking about his opinions and his beliefs, and how does he, in an entertaining way and getting laughs, put his point of view across. And the reason I mention he's a drinker is because the way he moves is he takes time on stage to drink. He takes time on stage to talk about how hungover he is. Now, that's not just to give him more time to come up with material. What that's allowing him to do is stay in silence for longer. And as we all know, staying in silence for longer on stage turns the experience into a conversation with the audience. The silence is when they can just think about what the hell it is you're going on about, while you either wait to say your next prepared bit or come to a conclusion or a topic or an opinion in your head in real time. Doug knows the destination of where he's going to get. He knows he's going to go into the jogging bit where he's prancing over and back on stage. He might know a few of the powerful tags or punchlines he needs to hit in doing so. But he's sure as hell going to try a lot more along the way. Let's see when he breaks from, so there's a comparison going on, he's breaking from telling the audience how they should think about something or how they should go about doing something, and now he's mimicking a person who is not taking his advice and just doing a charity fun run. And now we all know, because you know, if you know Doug, you know he's going to have a lot to say about when he act out, right? He's going into an act out, which is a tool of comedy, and he's exaggerating the act out and the person, and he's going to describe the actions of a person who is doing a fun run in a grim, miserable state, right? So let's see how he goes about doing that.
Fun run for the cure. Why? Why? When has running ever cured anything? I don't understand the cause and effect on this. Is that how Jonas Salk cured polio? Is by speed walking around the track down at St. Mary's High School with a wife beater on and a paper number safety pin to his back? Oh, we're doing it for the cure. How are you?
Boom. Okay, let's stop there for a second. There's so much to unpack there. Listen to, that was a description, right? So if you have a topic and you think, okay, well, I want to talk about this topic. And then, okay, so from a point of view on anything connected to the topic, a behavior, a certain way of language in which people speak at the event or around the idea, or an unwritten rule. This is what we should be doing. If we bring up a topic, we write all the unwritten rules. We write all the behaviors that take place in at that event or topic. We write all the beliefs, the systems, as much as we can, depending on who we are creatively, what we like to do. You may not write all behaviors if language is more your thing and you want to talk more about that, or maybe the other way around. But that's the way we need to approach the topic. And what Doug has done is he's taken a topic, he's taken his point of view, and now he's taken the opposite point of view. Somebody who likes to do a fun run to raise money for charity, right? Now, Doug's opinion is that's a waste of time. Great concept for comedy. This is all golden, and it's so easy to understand from an audience's point of view, regardless of not if they agree with you. Because now you're going to stack punchline descriptions, tags, using an exaggeration, and using what do you see on the most basic level. Like, what's the assumption you have when you see a person doing a fun run? How many ways can you describe that person? All Doug has done is just write, he must have at one stage wrote down a lot, and now because he's so good on stage and been doing it so long, he's able to mention a few that he's written, and obviously I feel there's a few that he came up with on the spot as well. Perhaps all of these are ones he came up with on the spot. And at one gig, and you come up with another one at another gig, and because he's listening and he's trying to find the best version of each section of his set, he's taking the one that worked best that time he riffed at this place, and he's taking the one that worked best that time he riffed at this place, and sooner or later you have a list of only punchlines that he has proven to himself have worked. They are descriptions that he has proven record that they work, so they'll always work, because even if they don't work at one time, he knows they were made in a room where there was laughter directly after them. So he knows there's ammunition behind them. So by riffing around the idea, he was able to come up with this. I believe, although I can't say for sure, I believe, looking at his style and the way he's fluid and the way he's able to think on the moment, or so it seems, is that that's what we're up against. Sometimes he'll have a bit of material that's not going to stick, but he knows there's something coming up that will stick, it will make the audience laugh, and all he needs to do now is explore that topic when it finally arrives. Dig a little deeper. He knows he has the punchlines, he knows what's coming, and now it's about getting more punchlines out of what's already going to be a fascinating bit.
Are you curing anything? Well, what I do is I get sponsors, and every time I go around the track another time, my sponsor gives me another quarter for the cure, so I gotta go as many times as I... Are your friends that sick and sadomasochistic that they wouldn't just cut you a check outright for the cure? They make...
So you can see now, at the beginning of this bit, he gave his opinion and his point of view on how the audience should behave around the topic, right? Now that's a difficult thing to do. That's going to put backs up. That's going to be like, especially at your grassroots level, right? I wouldn't think you should go on stage and tell the audience they should feel something about some way. But you can see here, done by an excellent comic, it's absolutely possible, right? Even though I wouldn't urge anyone to do it. It's absolutely a good tool in comedy to do, as long as you then have the most entertaining way of describing why your opinion is the correct one. And you can come at that anyway. Doug has decided to go down the path of describing the opposition. And he's created a character in doing so. He's doing every single punchline is done through an act out. He's not himself. He has instantly made up a fictitious character that's jogging around this track. And all he has done is put the list of humorous observations about a person who would do a fun run, and then he's put himself into that person and he's said the description, but he's used language to downplay the importance of what the person is doing. So it's almost like the person is making fun of themselves. So it's an act out, and he's exaggerating just how pointless the whole fun run angle is.
You do weird shit first. Larry, you know, my daughter was born with cerebral palsy, and we're trying to get a big fundraiser going. Really? Yeah. How many hard-boiled eggs will you eat? Come on. Come on. You love your kid, right? Come on. No, they would cut you a check outright, but you're that much of a fucking megalomaniac that you have to make the cure about you. You need spotlight in this. You could just get a check, but no one's gonna fucking be, oh no, you know, the truth is I do the same speed walk at St. Mary's every morning at 6:30 before work with my Labrador, Sheba, trying to shed a few pounds, you know, but no one claps.
Now, what's he doing here? He's done a description and a point of view of a person who's not doing the punchline. The punchline has always been the fun run. That's the topic. He's still on it. And now he's pretending to run around again. Now he's transitioned into a person who, well, actually the truth is I've done this all the time. And he's getting an extra entire, it's almost like the bit nearly feels like it's over when he's described the point of view of, oh, how about I just cut you a check? I was like, well, no. That could be the end of the bit, but you can turn the entire bit on its head and put it from the point of view where you can describe again the mundane act of being alone. Nobody gives a shit that you're running around this track and you're there with your dog, but oh no, if I claim to do it for this, well then everybody's going to care and I'm the big hero. And so he's giving it's an entire other bit, and all he's done is he's taught when you can write down a piece of information, a topic, and you can write down all of the beliefs where a person would act at that thing, whatever the thing is, all of the beliefs, the languages, the ideas about that thing, and then you just change the thing. You connect it, you compare the thing to any other thing, and then you compare all the list of ways you behave or the ways you communicate or the ideas to that thing, and you just bring it into the story. That's all he's done. He's taking one topic where a person was doing a thing for charity. Doesn't matter what, it doesn't matter if it was running, right? It could have been anything. He could have described anything in hilarious fashion. And now he's taking a person who does the same thing, but on, you know, and another day when it's not for the connected charity. So the comparison is for charity, not for charity. I do this anyway. What would that mean? What would that look like? What would the behaviors be? What would you think about yourself when you do it? And he's just describing them. He's running down through the list, describing them in detail.
For me then, and calls me heroic, so I'm going to do it on Sunday afternoon for the cure, and everyone's going to go, Ray, go! Yeah, you could do, but you want to fucking, it's a 10K fun run about you fucking megalomaniac. Stop it. You know you're not doing shit. You can just get the check from your friend and then actually do something that means something other than running. We're getting donations, and we're petitioning City Hall for a spot in the park to make a big granite slab for the victims and the sufferers and the survivors of the thing.
No, see, now same thing. Same thing, but now he's transitioning in from the run to it felt like that was about to finish. It felt like when you said you fucking, and he was giving an attitude to the crowd, because Doug Stanhope puts the audience in the hot spot. They are the problem. It's almost like he's talking directly to you at home. You're the problem. You're why this is so fucked up. And just when there was a sense in the room where, had he stopped talking to maybe take a sip of water, there would have been a huge ovation, because he's nearly got his point won over. Agree with him or not, he's done so in such an entertaining, full throttle, no apologies way, that you have to kind of go, wow, that was amazing. And now he doesn't take his foot off the ignition for half a second. He's straight into another example. And yet again, he paints the example so beautifully, and he sets the premise, what it would be for charity, and he lists all the things he feels are bullshit.
And then we're going to painstakingly etch each name of the people into the stone at great expense. For what? It's a fucking chunk of rock. It doesn't help. Put that time and effort and money into actually something that's calculated, that actually helps. We're going to knit a SARS quilt. It's going to take all summer long.
See that? Now it's a extreme example. I mean, it's a done thing, but the SARS quilt is, see, that you can have a comparison. You can bring in the tool of comedy and comparison, and the comparison can be the stopping of momentum as to what you're saying versus what you're about to say. It doesn't need to be comparing like running to comparing like not running. It can be, and he's done that, but now he's comparing his, almost like a final thought, going, what the hell is the point in what we are doing, to another example coming in with a different rhythm. He fell back onto his stool. It's almost like he's out of breath while he gives you yet another example. Just done at the perfect timing. Where can you break the rhythm of what you're saying to give another humorously written example of what it is you're trying to put across? You can even do it in terms of, oh, I work here, and I work at this job. I work as a teacher, and every day I have to go in and I have to make sure the class is presentable, and the kids come in and then they all sit down and they're all screaming, and one guy's always doing this, and you describe in big detail what's going on and all the things that you think need your attention and all the stresses, and then you immediately stop and you go, but, and then you say something to do with the way you love the job, or something to do with how you find it more relaxing there than you do at home, or something to do with, oh, but the pay is amazing, and of course maybe it's not, and that's the joke. But whatever way it is you want to stop that momentum, that is interesting to an audience, because the opinion and the information, the premise, if that's all crystal clear, and you line up a list of things that frustrate you, or things that make you happy, or things that make you embarrassed or annoyed, it's so easy to understand in an audience that there's no new information, there's no reset. We're just taking information and we're laughing at the ability you have to list the things that make you frustrated or happy or whatever it is. And then you abruptly stop the monologue to tell us a thing that's not on the list, that is an alternative comparison meaning, or an alternative ability, an alternative idea in the same topic that breaks up. And it's just inevitable because of pacing, because of a change in pacing, and also a humorous knitting analogy that comes out of nowhere. It's inevitable for it to be funny. So how can you break your own pacing and bring in something that is connected to your topic, but it's another humorous thing? A way in which, if you are writing this material, what I would get you to do is list all of the ways in which you can make money for charity, and then rate them in how you can say them as funny as you can. And if the knitting sentence you came up, that's how you're going to enter that premise. And when the time is right, that's how you're going to interrupt something else and enter the premise. But first, we got to write the topics. We got to write the topics and explore the areas so much that we start to get to interesting ideas. And the interesting ideas are going to be our introduction, the first thing we say about that, or the funniest idea, the funniest intro. And then it acts like a punchline, even though it's only entering into an idea.
There's people with SARS and they're chilly with SARS and they need quilt. What? We're going to have a prayer circle. We're going to have a candlelight vigil at midnight. Could you do less? Mathematically.
Look at that. Candlelight vigil at midnight. Could you do less? So that's a comparison. Again, it's nearly all exaggeration and comparison. And in a couple of act outs. That's it. That's the recipe for nearly 100% of modern comedy is exaggeration, comparison. I would say comparison's more, and then act out. He's slightly even doing an act out here where could you do less? He's acting like one person. We're going to have this. It's going to be big. It's going to be, whatever he says. It's grand. It's a presentation. It's positivity. Surely it cannot go wrong. Versus could you do less? Versus you can almost imagine a person standing to the side of the room going, could you do less? And that's hilarious. The concept of my opinion is that nothing you're saying is worth anything. And also it's on top of the comparison between the energies in the room.
Ask your accountant if there's any way you could do any less than that. Well, we are raising awareness. Raising awareness is another form of doing nothing. Only now you're making me aware that the nothing that I've been doing is not up to par with the nothing that you're doing for such a noble cause. Why don't you do my nothing for your cause? We'll watch Storage Wars for the Cure, and then we'll both be happy in our impotence.
Okay. So now it's almost like it's almost like, okay, if I was to stand back and look at this bit of material, what is it all for? Well, we're raising awareness. We always hear that, and it's like, and then, okay, so I want to explore that concept. What does raising awareness mean? And then if I have this opinion, right, this negative opinion on every single thing you're doing so far is meaningless, an absolute rubbish, waste of time, piece of shit. And then, if it's for awareness, well then how does my opinion on the topic of awareness, how does it compare? How does it compare? So I want to describe exactly what it is you're doing, and then I want to describe what my lack, if I think your lack of something, if I think it's a lack, well then what am I doing? I'm watching Storage Wars. So that has absolutely no ability to help anybody, but it's the same ability you have, because I think everything you do is stupid. So I'm going to link my watching Storage Wars to your raising awareness, and I'm going to state that it's just another way of doing absolutely nothing. Okay. Running over time on this video, it's a lot longer because he's one of my favorites. That's going to sum it up. I hope you this is little complete rant has been entertaining and informative, and I hope that you're got a few ideas on how Doug approaches comedy. And let me know if you want me to approach Doug Stanhope in a lot more detail in the future, because I might. And he's a hard one to crack. Because you never know where he's going to come with his next angle and stuff, and it's just so entertaining to watch, and it's so there's so much energy and opinion and commitment to stand-up comedy, and that's something that we're missing at the grassroots level. We need commitment. If you're going to say something, get behind it, give them loads of reasons as to why you think like that, and make them funny. Make them as funny and as absurd and as unique as you possibly can. And if you are interested in performing like him, you need to come from the point of view of you're winning over people based on these things that you've absolutely explored beyond belief. You know this area inside out, and have fun doing so with your writing. Have fun digging in. And yeah, above all, get onto the Patreon where you can see all the biggest, longest courses that I have to show you, and I'd love to have you over there. So see you soon.